Hey, Topic Mixer family. This is Big Al again with another big topic talking about the debates. I wanted to do an update on my video. Uh, I kind of did a morning and after review of the debates before. This is some updates on some of the things I said and talking about some things I've heard around the media, from the media around the horn. Uh, I'll say it early on. I'm talking about people like the Young Turks, and Damage Report from the same channel. Uh, Also Benjamin Dixon, The Rising, MSNBC, CNN. Believe me, I've heard a lot. I've heard Gabfest. I've heard 535 Politics. I haven't really listened to Roland Martin this time. Usually I do. Sorry, Roland, didn't listen to you, but let me bring this up. So let's start out. Okay, the other night I talked about the debates. I talked about how Trump went off the rails. So we all know he went off the rails. The report around the horn, there's statistics out there saying that 40% of people still, regardless of all the things that Trump said, will be voting for Trump come November. Be honest with you, I don't think the debates changed anybody's mind. But it's sickening how many people will vote for a man that said the things he said. Literally. I mean, the man said that diversity training is racist. Okay, that's more important than the other thing where you can say, maybe he said it, maybe he didn't. The one where he said, sure, I'll condemn racism. He didn't say it like that, but he said, sure. Which one? When somebody says, will you condemn white nationalists? Will you condemn white nationalists? Should have been all you should have said, yeah, I condemn them and I think it's wrong. Stand down. This shouldn't happen in today's era. Nope, that's not what he said. He said, stand down and stand by, and it's all the lefties' fault, yada, 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 yada. Okay, maybe. That's what you want to say, that's what you want to say. But you definitely did not denounce white nationalism. So we'll talk about that. And like I said that before, it's just ridiculous. This stays on my mind about this, that 46% of Americans, despite that, will overlook that and still vote for the man. And I realized something today. We've always been that kind of people. We overlook certain things to get what we want. I keep hearing this thing, people repeating one scripture out of the Bible to say we need to get rid of abortion. That's why we're voting for the president. He's not, they're not even talking about jobs. The fact that what he's saying is divisive to the rest of the world. It's only about abortion because that's what it says in the Bible. It's that one scripture in the Bible, that one. There's also one that says seek justice, but you're not repeating that one. So I keep hearing that over and over again. I'm not here to rail about the Bible either today, but I thought I'd bring that up. So then there's the other crowd. There are other issues on the table, but people are willing to sacrifice everything else for those issues. There are union guys who will literally be voting for Trump, who does not like unions because they say he's doing a great job of getting them jobs, like especially folks in the oil refinery industry. You know how that pollution's doing us, right? It's called global warming. Eventually, you can't breathe the air, but I got plenty of money. Anyway. And there was another guy they talked to. I heard him talk to today on NPR. He works in the car manufacturing. He said the jobs were doing well and how they fell off, but he's voting for voting for Biden. And he says he just can't see himself voting for a man that does the things like Trump does. He says Trump says one thing and does absolutely something else. He says that the jobs have actually started to fall off in the car industry. It's not exactly the things he's doing that's helping too, because at the same time, some of the things he's doing is cause plants to close. When he starts putting tariffs on China, businesses lose money because prices go up. farmers are hurt because when they put tariffs on, when you put tariffs on, they put tariffs on. Your products aren't being sold, so then farmers lose money as well. Factories lose money from their products not going to China or other places around the world where exports is how they make their money. So it's damned if you do, damned if you don't with Trump, with those kind of things. So, and I guess he thought that was how we were going to fix America's industrial problem. The biggest thing we need to do is get America to buy America, but that's not how he's doing it. I kind of went off the rails there too. It's amazing how people will say they're voting for that one issue. You know, I see plenty of Trump flags. I live in a red state. That's all I'm going to say. I live in a red state. I see people with Trump flags in their car, in their front yards, right up under their American flag. And it doesn't matter if he say anything racist or not. They love him. He's doing great things for America. He's doing great things for plantation conservative America. And this is no offense to the other conservatives that are voting for him that have attached themselves because of business reasons, because of religious reasons. But he's doing the best he can for plantation conservative America. You know who those are? They were the former Confederates. Their great-great-grandparents were Confederates. They rebelled against this country because they wanted to keep slaves. Yeah, those conservatives. They back him more than anybody else. Now they've attached the religious right. They've attached physically conservative Republicans, and some of them have gotten into bed with them. They've fallen in, and they can't go anywhere else. They've fallen in so deep. And it's funny to listen to them stumble over themselves. Now, they couldn't say anything nice about this last debate because it was pretty bad, but it is horrible to watch men fall over themselves. Let's not only talk about men falling over themselves, let's talk about the media falling over themselves, whether it's Republican or Democratic. Now, I didn't watch Fox. Wonder why. I did not watch Fox, but I heard they tried to do everything to smooth it over, and they talked about how bad Joe Biden was. He was such a weak candidate. And that is becoming a theme, not only from the Fox, because they're repeating this on the other media channels like CNN, on NPR, and I heard this morning on Morning Joe. They're repeating the same things they're saying. Doesn't take long before conservatives get to these neoliberal television stations. Doesn't take long at all. Then they're repeating everything they're saying. Well, Joe Biden was weak. He was weak. He's letting Trump just control the whole situation. Trump was off the rails. The only thing you could have said to him was when he started talking about, and said, you only pay $750 in taxes. Or you grabbed them by the pee. Those are the only things you could have said. Just saying. Just off the rails kind of stuff. That's what he did. He just yap, 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 yap. He was yapping over anything Biden said, trying to force him to answer questions that he didn't want to answer. It was crazy. So, was Biden weak? No, he wasn't Millie Mouth. He tried to talk back. Sometimes he told him to shut up. Sometimes he said he's crazy. And sometimes he said, you can't get him to calm down. You can't get that dude to do that. So, you can't blame Biden for trying to do what he was doing in that situation. Like I said, it was a train wreck and forget Wallace, man. Wallace couldn't control anything if he tried. Next time we're talking about turning off the mics. The media is also suggesting we just not have the debates at all. America's dying and falling apart. It's no debate. Debates were awful. None of the issues. Excuse me, but what debate have we ever really talked about the issues? Okay, let's put it this way. There are millions of Americans right now that need a stimulus package because they're out of work. Some of them are homeless. Some of them can barely feed their children. Some of them don't even know where they're going to sleep tonight. But hey, America's falling apart because of a debate. let's not also forget JP Morgan and Chase just got fined $2 billion for being schemers in the stock market. There's a lot of other things going on right now. Oh, yeah, they're about to furlough federal workers because they have the Senate and the House couldn't agree on a bill to fund the government. But we're worried about a debate going off the rails that was about nothing. Our country's falling apart. We can't wait till the election so we can have our cameras at all these places where, they're going to be watching the polls. Those guys are going to be there from Trump, and they're going to be watching the polls in their trucks with the flags on the back. They're rednecks. Excuse me, but I'm unapologetically progressive, and I see a lot of crazy stuff on in the media. And it's not just your quote-unquote regular media. It's also Young Turks. It's Benjamin Dixon. Dude, I love you, man. Stuff you do is awesome. You bring up some very good points. It's like, where's our country going? I do see it going off the rails eventually. Like you say, Civil War is coming. Man, because we putting ourselves in it. But there's a lot of people just tired and fed up. That's why they don't vote. Remember they talked about that 3.5 million black people that came after in the last election to keep them from voting? Man, if any of them actually read this and read all the media stuff, they'd be mad too. I think they would be mad. But see, they had help. You had TV stars and actors and people who call themselves woke who were telling them not to vote too. The game was being played. And some of them voted third party, but most of them didn't vote at all, like you said. So, shout out to Benjamin Dixon. Good show. The Rising. The Rising is a joke. It's supposedly conservative and the progressive. The progressive sounds like she's somewhere. She admitted it herself. She grew up in a conservative household in the middle-class white neighborhood. Conservative middle-class white neighborhood. But she's a progressive. And the other guy, Seeger, I think that's his name, he voted for Trump. He's supposed to be a conservative. He's not a corporate conservative. He's physically conservative, but he's not a corporate conservative. He's not a big fan of Wall Street or anything like that. Well, the way they put it was, it did go off the rails. They sounded like Fox because they said Biden was weak. Then they turned around and said Trump's a good debater. And this came out of the mouth of Crystal, the one that's supposed to be the progressive. Yeah, whatever. Look. I just wanted to be brutally honest about that. I mean, if you want to, you're trying to give him advice on how to be a better thing. Let's do this. He said he was a white nationalist, basically, by not denouncing the white nationalists. He said that diversity training was racist. Yeah, he's not a good debater. He's right. He's a terrible debater. I'm sorry. I can't agree with y'all on that. Where is this country going? I don't know. If it would pay attention to the issues at hand, it might help. Like I said again, there are millions. You guys talked about it on your shows. All of these shows. There are millions of Americans out of work who are looking for a stimulus. It's amazing that a basketball team owner had a good idea. How about every 2 weeks we give everybody $1,000, have them go spend that money, make sure they spend that money every week to re-stimulate the economy so we can put people back to work. And some people were going like, oh, that's welfare. Oh my God, that's welfare. We got to put people back. You can't put people back to work if there's no money for the companies to have to spend. If that person's sitting at home without a job, he's not spending money. That means that company is not making money. It's just simple logic to me. But we don't have simple logic. We'd rather talk about two old men debating. I'm just saying, y'all bring these stories up on NPR, on Young Turks, on The Hill, on all these other channels, and be honest with you, they are minute. They don't matter as much. The ones that really matter are the things I'm talking about right now. Oh, let's not forget that right now, Azerbaijan and Armenia are in a hot war. They're having a border dispute right now. That's an issue, and the Turks are all up in it the wrong way. No thanks to our current president. And guess who else is the good guy? The Russians. Oh, imagine that, the Russians in it. The Russians have ambitions to regain the former Soviet Union. It has been told. They're not going to there won't be a stopgap on this side from them because Trump loves Putin. He says he's a great guy. The Chinese have bases all in the South China Sea where they've built these little artificial islands that are Navy bases and put their airplanes and things like that on. They're extending the borders of China in the South China Sea. And Orange Boy over here puts tariffs on them. So, you can call me whatever kind of progressive you want. I'm aggressive when it comes to the military. And, that's another thing. Our soldiers are all over the place. They're in Africa. Yeah, they're in Africa. Because you remember a couple of years ago, the young man that died in Africa? Part of him was left in Africa. God rest his soul. We got soldiers fighting in Africa. We have soldiers in Korea, Europe. We have soldiers in the Middle East, still in Iraq and Afghanistan, the conflict that's been going on since 2003. And we're worried about a debate. So, what am I going to say? Is the world falling apart? Is our country falling apart? I want to see if any of this stuff is talked about in the next debate. It probably won't be. It should be, but it probably won't be. These are the real issues that are going on with the world we live in. You guys want to stop the debates because the debates don't really mean anything. People have already decided who they're going to vote for. But people do like to watch the debates because they want to see what the candidates feel on issues. Well, none of that came up because apparently Trump wasn't prepared to talk about the issues, so he just went off the rails on stuff that didn't matter, talking about irregularities in voting and yada, yada, yada. Couldn't even answer a question about white nationalists. Couldn't really, I don't know what that was on the environment. COVID-19, forget it. Oh yeah, that's going on too. 200,000 Americans dead from COVID-19. Can we blame Trump for it? Sorta. Diseases tend to kill people when they get like that. Take you from me. I don't know if Trump could have saved you from that or not. Wearing a mask is important, and it should have been informed to you the right way. It was not. That could have saved a lot of lives, because it saved a lot of lives in other countries. But that comes and goes. Those spikes will come and go, because now that the disease is in the country, it's going to come and go and keep coming and going. That's why it's important for you to wear your mask. But I see so many people every day not wearing their mask. Wear your mask. That's all you got to do. Wear a mask. Don't fight it. It's not because your freedom's being taken from you. Your freedom's not being taken from you. That makes you more free to go do stuff. Don't come near me because you can't take my freedom away to live. If you're not going to wear a mask, don't get in my face. Simple as that. That's all I say. So, this is the real debate. The real issues are out there. They're not being solved, not being put on the table. There are cities right now that are making some serious budget cuts because they don't have the money to run their budgets because of all the businesses that shut down. You got states having to make budget cuts. That means school teachers being laid off, bus drivers being laid off, policemen being laid off, because that could happen. Right now we're putting a lot of money in that budget. Oh, and let's talk about that. Black Lives Matter. Man, would be a problem if a black man didn't say something about that, but I have to say something about that too. Because they're still talking about that. Oh, those bourgeoisie liberals. This is what I heard Reverend Al Sharpton say on Morning Joe. He called them bourgeoisie liberals. They want to defund the police. Explain something. Eliminating qualified immunity is more important than defunding the police. Getting mental health people out to help people is a good idea. Taking away things that policemen shouldn't have to do. I watched one day one of these court shows, and this is a real court, where a woman literally had a warrant because she was smoking in a place she wasn't supposed to smoke in. She had a ticket turned into a warrant because she didn't pay it. Either way, that shouldn't have been the case, because that doesn't generate somebody going to jail because they're smoking in the wrong place or because they're sitting on a park bench. Those kind of things are the reason there's a problem in our country. You throw a piece of paper out the window, sure, it's bad, it's terrible, but you shouldn't go to jail for doing that. It's one thing if you commit murder, run somebody over, steal from a bank. That's another thing. I'm talking about the simple stuff. Black men shouldn't get pulled over on the street just for being black men, but they do because there's a world out here that fears the color of our skin. And all those little things like those little fines like that, they become big problems for us. That's why some of us end up dead. So there are little things that we can change to fix, that we can keep. We can take the pressure off the police. They're on the street. Their job is to be the police. I thought about that today. I was in this place called Homewood, and the traffic light was out. People didn't know how to stop because it's right there by the freeway. It's a busy street. It's a busy two-way street, and people can't stop. And meanwhile, the Homewood police set up down the street, setting up a speed trap. They should have been at that intersection where that light was. But that speed trap is more important than getting that traffic moved at that traffic light. America, we have got to wake up to the stuff we do. Like I said, there are cities that are having to make budget decisions. I know I live in a city that's had to make a lot of budget decisions. Our budget is really small. Meanwhile, there's a city next door, the big city, they closed down most of their libraries. They've had to furlough workers. So those are the real issues. Those weren't brought up in the debate. Never brought up once. Because we're too busy. This has become the news. Donald Trump, great job. Acting the fool, you made sure we didn't talk about the issues that you have no resolution for in the first place. Probably Biden either, but we didn't get a chance to talk about it. I won't get on the TV, guys, too bad. I guess that's why they don't want any more debates, or they want a mute button in the next debate. Maybe the issues will actually get talked about. Maybe people can have at a town hall. See, the next one's supposed to be a town hall. I would love to be the one to sit there and ask questions. Like real questions like, hey, we have several million Americans out of work right now, and there's a possibility they won't go back to work anytime soon. Do you support a new stimulus package? Mr. President, Black Lives Matter is marching in the street because there have been incidents with the police where young men have been beat, have been killed at the hands of police. Do you support legislation that supports police reform? There are a lot of people right now who can't afford health care in America. Do you support Medicare for all or a government health insurance plan? Can we ask those questions? Can we get the real deal? Or are we just seeking sensationalism? Sorry. To be honest with you, I think that's what's wrong with America. They're seeking sensationalism. They're not seeking the real deal. They're not trying to find the real answers to problems. Sure, the real answers to problems are in the Bible because I'm a Christian and I believe that. Number one, it's in the Bible. If you're a Bible-carrying person, you know that the answers are there. It's not the one issue of abortion. I'm pro-life. I will tell you that right up here. That's not the only issue in life. I can save children, but if I can't feed them, what was the point of saving them? If I'm locking them in cages, what's the point of saving them? If I'm blowing them up with bombs, what's the point of saving them? This is America. We've got to change. If we want real change, we have to think about who we're putting in office. Well, folks, it's getting late. I love talking to y'all. If you like this video, hit the like button below. Please share with your friends and subscribe. Good night.